Hello, I'm Tom from Gear4music, and I'm joined today by Paul from Yamaha. I'm going to be looking in a lot more detail at the P515 portable piano. So this is their flagship model. So if you enjoy this sort of video, don't forget to click like and subscribe. So Paul, this is a pretty powerful model, isn't it? So it's their premium flagship model. So what sets it out from the rest?
Well, you know what, P515 is really a great instrument. And as you said, it is the flagship instrument of the P series. I think the P right at the beginning gives it away. P means portable. So first and foremost, I always like to say to our customers that there's kind of 4 things that we should really look at to cover, to kind of judge what type of instrument it is and if it's the right thing for you. So first of all, the design of the instrument. It is, as we said, portable. It has an optional stand, which we can see it on here, and we've got an optional 3-pedal unit. But when you buy P515, just out of the box, it's the top part. So it's portable. So if you wanted to take it out on a gig or take it somewhere, and play it somewhere else other than the house, that's fine. When you bring it back, you can put it back on its stand so it looks great at home. So that's the first thing about the P series. When we move on to the second thing, sound, I'd like to talk a little bit first about Yamaha's heritage, because of course Yamaha have been making acoustic instruments for a long time. I think 122 years to be exact. It's fair to say Yamaha know a little bit about making pianos, and of course, as we talk about constantly, we have a fantastic instrument called CFX. And that's Yamaha's acoustic grand piano. It's 9 foot long. It's incredible.
And costs a lot.
And costs a lot, but you get a lot of piano for your money. I think the last count was about 150, 160,000 pounds. So when you look at pianos, pianos can cost an awful lot of money, but it is a grand piano. It's a concert grand. And guess what? It lives in here. Not just the sound of the instrument, and we can't go into too much detail, obviously, for the length of time that we have, but it's not just the voice, but it's all of the resonances and everything else that goes on.
There's a lot going on in a 9-foot cabinet.
Oh, of course it is. Actually, it's a very noisy place. Lots of hammers moving and dampers moving up and down and pedals moving.
And all the resonances interacting.
It's huge. And if I play a little bit for you, you'll probably be able to hear all of that stuff going on. So this is Yamaha CFX Concert Grand.
So there's a real depth of sound there, isn't there?
And of course, being a fully touch-sensitive keyboard, alongside it being a fully graded keyboard, and what graded means, it's heavy at the bottom, and as you progress across the keyboard, it gets lighter, as it would do on a concert grand. So much more than that, if you play the notes softly, you get a soft sound. If you play it harder, you get a completely different sound. Now, of course, on the instrument, we have lots of other voices. We have, I think, 40 voices on board the instrument. The next voice I want to show you is an incredible piano. It's a piano that is made in Austria, in Vienna, and it's called Bosendorfer. We quite simply get there just by pressing the arrow key, and we can see in the screen that the sound has now changed to Bosendorfer. And Bosendorfer is a beautiful sound. CFX is grand and elegant and majestic and all of those words that describe, just a beautiful sound.
Stands out with an orchestra,
yes,
for example.
Bosendorfer, much more intimate audience, much quieter, much more subtle, if you like, but a beautiful sound. just incredible. It's the subtlety in there. And actually, Bosendorfer, I don't know whether you know, Tom, but Bosendorfer has actually got the Imperial, which is the instrument this is sampled from. It's actually got more keys. A standard piano's got 88 keys. A Bosendorfer Imperial's actually got 97 keys. So it goes down to the bottom
Covers
C.
extra depth as well, and all the strings are there as well. So you've got the natural resonance, even if you're not playing those notes.
Have a listen. You can hear all of that resonance going. It's terrific. It's just brilliant. So from a piano player's point of view, you've got the best of the best. You've got CFX, you've got Bosendorfer. And if we press the button just to the right, we've actually got Studio Grand, which is a Yamaha C7, which is probably one of the most recorded pianos in the world. Have a listen to this. It's got that nice crisp sound. It's nice and bright. It's ideal for playing in maybe a band that cuts through the drums and cuts through the guitars and so on and so forth. But as we said, we've got over 40 voices on board. They're all accessible from this part of the instrument over here. So we see piano. We've got lots of other pianos: bright grand, ballad grand, warm grand, pop grand, jazz grand, rock piano, honky tonk piano. So we can do a bit of all of that sort of stuff. We can do electric pianos. And electric pianos, of course, take us back to the 1980s,
Yes,
typically.
the iconic sounds.
Absolutely.
Everyone remembers.
And Yamaha introduced the Yamaha DX7 synthesizer, which was pretty iconic in the 1980s. Everybody used
Definitely.
the DX7. And it gives you this type of sound. Beautiful, lovely, warm kind of studio sound. We've got organ sounds. So if someone wanted to have a P515 maybe in a church,
Exactly.
you could use the organ voices on board. And so on and so forth. Strings. We've even got a string orchestra, which sounds beautiful. Sounds great.
And I assume you can layer them all up as well?
Really great point, Tom. So with the P515, we've got different options. We can do lots of different things. So, and one of the things that we can do is actually layer voices, because there's a very famous guy, a very famous Canadian player that takes his CFX and he actually layers together the DX7. So if we were to take the CFX and we press the dual button, now you can see in the screen, we've got different voices and we can change those voices to whatever we want. So if we were to take maybe the electric piano, let's say, here we go, and we can marry it now with the DX7. It says DX electric piano. So now we've got the CFX concert grand with the DX7 and we get this type of sound. Beautiful.
So you've got the depth there and the added sparkle.
Yeah, of course. We could even take, if we wanted to, we could take the piano and string section. So we could take studio grand and slow strings. So your options there are, there's quite a lot. There's quite a lot you can do. You can even split it 3 times, have a bass player down to the left hand and have 2 sounds to the right. You can split the keyboard in 2, so you, if for tuition purposes or an education purpose.
So you on one side, teacher on the other.
Absolutely. So we could have you here with a piano and the teacher here with a piano. It even splits the pedals. So you have a pedal for sustain for you and a pedal for sustain for the teacher. That's great. Of course, we've got reverb. We've got lots of effects as well. So if we wanted to go into what we call the piano room, we could go into piano room and we can adjust the lid position on the piano, which of course affects the sound. We can adjust the damper resonance, the aliquot resonance, all of this, dare I call it, stuff that's going on within a piano. You can edit all of that as well. So from a piano point of view, it really is fantastic. We've also got metronomes. And that's really important if you're
great for practice.
Practicing, yes. So if you press metronome, we've kind of got a tick-tock there, just like having a metronome. We've got a bell, so we can put a bell on, so you can have different time signatures and, of course, different tempos. But we've also got something else, which I think is great, and that is rhythms. We have onboard rhythms. Not just the rhythms either. Have a listen. I'm just going to select maybe, let's have CFX. And I'm going to just press rhythm and watch what happens. I got a drummer, which is a great way to keep you in tempo.
It's a bit more fun than having a metronome.
Brilliant. And of course, we've got different types of rhythms. So whether you want a swing or a waltz or whatever, there's lots of different rhythms on board, all at whatever tempo that you want.
So you can perform with them or use them as a practice aid.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. We've also got an onboard recorder. And this is amazing because you can record up to 16 different tracks, if you like. In the most basic form, what I like to do with it is literally you can record the right hand. So if you're learning to play, for instance, and you can't quite get the two hands going at the same time, record the right hand. The instrument will play that back while you practice the left hand. And then vice versa. If you wanted to record the left hand, play the right hand back. But then the instrument does so much more. I'm going to introduce you to something else right now, Tom. We've talked about the instrument quite in depth, but there's more. If we were to add an iPad, or you can use some other selected Android devices if you like, this is just an iPad, we can transfer all of the usage of the instrument across to the iPad. So now, instead of having to use the panel, I can see on the iPad exactly what I've got on board, and I can change it. So the CFX, there's the Bosendorfer, there's the Studio Grand.
So it's a much more interactive way of doing it. So if you do like having that visual, you can do it.
Absolutely, much more visual. But also using the onboard recording feature, I've now just not got 2 tracks. I can upgrade that to 16 tracks. So I can have a 16-track recorder. So if I was to, let's say, compose something, and I wanted to record the piano part, then I wanted to record maybe the bass part, and then I want to record maybe the string part. What about other instruments? Well, also on board the P515 are what we call XG voices, so XG MIDI voices, but you have access to them. So if we were to select the function button and the others section, it will then open up access to another 480 sounds that I can use on board the P515. So the instrument being in its very basic form, nice and simple, nice and easy to use, in conjunction with the smart Pianist app, it really is a great package.
So it really unlocks it. So if you want a piano that do what you need it to do, and you don't have to use the iPad. So I think that's quite important to stress because a lot of people do just want a piano they can get.
Oh, absolutely. This is, that's exactly why we have this panel here, so that you can just interact with the panel. You switch the instrument on, you select piano, off you go. If you wanted to go further and if you wanted to dive in a little bit deeper, then you can obviously use the panel or connect with the free app, which is called Smart Pianist, and you can interact via your tablet, which I think is great.
And then it's also worth mentioning Flow Key as well, briefly. So that again is something you get at the moment with a 3-month free premium subscription. So that is a great educational tool that you can use. So whether you're beginning your piano journey, whether you're after a great action that is actually similar to a lot of the clavinova action as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can easily take that on the road with you.
Of course. And not just that, from a practice point of view, we mentioned Flowkey. Flowkey is our tuition system that we give you 3 months free at the moment. And that goes from a complete beginner, complete novice, all the way up to a well-established player. It really is worth having a look at. You'll get that free for 3 months with the instrument. Practice, that's a really important word, because of course, when we're at home and we're practicing, not necessarily ideal for everyone else in the house to be listening to it. So we can plug headphones into the instrument just at the front here. In fact, we can plug 2 sets of headphones. So if your teacher is going to visit the house, the teacher can use a set of headphones and you can use a set of headphones. Not only is it just headphone usage, but you will also use, when you plug your headphones in, we'll use a technology called binaural sampling. Now that's a real fancy way for saying, when you put the headphones on, it's incredible. It just sounds like the piano is in the room. It's not here, the piano's actually in the room with you.
Because quite often when things are being sampled and recorded, the microphone goes straight into the piano. That's going to really increase the fatigue and just too much.
Well, what we found was, you're absolutely right, what we found was people just naturally wanted to take their headphones off because your ears get tired. So Yamaha developed this new technology called binaural sampling, where they recorded the piano from a different perspective. We actually used a mannequin at the head of the piano with some very clever microphones and recorded the whole thing again. Not just the CFX, but also the Bosendorfer. So when you plug in the set of headphones, it kind of tricks you because it just sounds like the piano's in the room. It really is great, ideal for practice.
So you've got great feel, great sounds, great action. It looks great. You've got the functionality of the iPad if you want it. So there's something there for everyone. So if you want to take it on stage, you've got that real piano feel that you need about it. So thank you very much, Paul, for joining us, and that's been really informative. And if you enjoy these sorts of videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below. Thank you for watching.